and today we're doing a quick little reaction to the death of Saints Row. Now, this is the honest review. This is Alex Webb, a guy I've been watching for a couple of years now. Funny as fuck. Gives a very honest review about the games, about the main Spider-Man gaming franchise. We don't discuss those games. We don't discuss those games. Saints Row 3. The remastered one. It had glitches, but it was a very fun game. Remember over the pandemic, me and my homie Tal, we played it. Hilarious. It was a dope game. Saints Row 4, Superpowers, got out of hell. We don't talk about that one either. And Saints Row 2, you also talked about, I heard was one of the best one. I gotta play the second one for myself. Potential series for the channel. But this one is him reviewing the current Saints Row, the Saints Row that just came out this year. So I'm curious to see how this Saints Row game is, because I didn't get it, and I don't think I'm gonna buy it. Because I don't think I'm gonna get it, but it'd be nice to have. That's what I'm fucking bit. Let's get to the video.
Knowledge. But I mean, judging by the gameplay trailer, I don't think it looks awful. Can't be any worse than Gat Out of Hell, I guess. I was wrong. I wanted to give the reboot a fighting chance.
No, it's not worse than Gat Out of Hell.
And above all else,
it's not
I
worse.
actually wanted it to be good, despite what everyone else was saying. But guys, what have you done? I bought this game on release for 50 great British pounds. You know what else I could have spent that money on? Like at least 2 cans of Monster and a sausage roll. But no, I bought this game, started playing it, and then realised the better way to spend my time was to eat a cake made of nails. I mean, the entire Saints Row series may have been up in flames at this point, with production running low on funds, but at the very least, people like these characters.
I gotta tell you,
Johnny,
it was perfect. Perfect. Everything. Down to the last minute details.
Regardless of whatever this is. You think I don't know? People were genuinely attached to these misfit gangsters, like some of you probably grew up with them, and if that's the case, I will be calling Child Protective Services. Listen, with their massive IQs and dashing good looks, decided the best way to revamp the series was to get rid of all these characters and replace them with hipsters. See, instead of making this game about gang warfare with an element of comedy like the first 2 games, or making it a fever dream like the rest of the series, Volition decided to go with the mystery third option. That being to completely erase everything and start from scratch. Now yes, I get it, the series needed a reboot after all the shit it had gone through.
Yeah,
so I wasn't...
After the first, 3 games, when they got to the 4th game, nigga, superpower and aliens. Wasn't we just talking? Nigga, wasn't these niggas just gangsters? How the fuck we go from gangsters to fucking aliens? And niggas the president? You know how many crimes the Saints have committed? And somehow the character we created ended up being president? That made no sense. That was from gangsters to superpowers to I don't know what the fuck happened after that. But at least it has some type of story. At least it has some type of at least it has some type of relatable story dating. Other than Shoutout. Shit, not Saints Row 3 mission. I had no hesitation. I wanted to save Shoutout. Fuck we was gonna fight that Mexican nigga eventually, bro. I want to save Shoutout first. That was my main concern, bro.
Wasn't entirely opposed to
niggas like, no, fuck Shoutout. What the fuck you mean, fuck Shoutout? We both agreed.
Oh boy, people weren't happy with these characters.
Yeah, I was like,
Look at these quirky characters, and instantly went fucking ballistic. These new characters seem so far removed from what the series was known for. Like, why is this man shirtless? Please cover up, sir. Nevertheless, these characters were somehow approved, and the announcement trailer was disliked into oblivion. Shockingly, Volition didn't pay any attention to this negative reception though,
like EA Sports
doubled down on these characters. Don't worry everyone, once they see the actual gameplay, they'll love our new game. But the gameplay trailer did little to quell the fan outrage. Admittedly,
wait, hold on, let me see.
They'll love our new game. But the gameplay trailer did little to quell.
From gangsters and badasses to hipsters and IGN employees. Crazy how the NPC to your own gang looks more like the main characters than the actual main characters. Despite looking better than the CGI trailer, I still have mixed feelings about this game.
The fan outrage. Admittedly, the gameplay didn't look terrible,
but
upon closer inspection, it fully feels like Volition just looked around to see what was making the most money and said, yeah, copy that. So now we've ended up with a Saints Row game, which looks like the love child of Fortnite and fucking Watch Dogs. But in saying that, I suppose Volition could take
that's not a good comment.
Places, and Watch Dogs was good. Right, so how bad can this game actually be?
Oh god.
Smell. It's an acquired taste.
Oh god.
Look at the state of that fucking cat. But first, ad time. Have you ever went to a restaurant?
Well, of course, I've ordered a succulent.
You got. I had to move it. I had to move it. I had to move.
So,
I had to move
have you
real quick.
ever connected to the free Wi-Fi?
How else would I watch my favorite show?
Well, sir, now your data is at risk of being stolen by
But
these
how?
degenerates,
But what
which is sell
happened
all
to?
your private information on the black
What happened to
market.
Saints Row, man? Like.
But don't worry, because it's Shark. With Surfshark VPN, all your private information still belongs to you, as encryption
What?
data stops
I was on my
falling into
PS4
the
before I started
wrong
recording this
hands.
video. Gotta close that
You don't have to
quick.
worry
Make sure
about
my.
anyone seeing your watch history. Surfshark
Good.
will help disguise and hide you.
Oh,
when
also
online,
meanwhile I'm at
making
it,
you practically
download
invisible so that
potential
anyone trying to spy on you
video
will never
for
slip
tomorrow.
justice. You can also use Surfshark on multiple different devices too,
I'll do it
from your brand new iPhone to
later.
your granddad's wheelchair. It really is that good. See for yourself by using code WEB to get a huge 85% discount plus free extra months completely free. I mean, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description right now to get in on
I'll
this
just
fantastic deal.
do
Or
it
I'll come to
after
your
this.
house.
Oh man, not my house.
So the game
Let's keep
begins
this
at a
in.
house party as we meet this
Alright.
gentleman. I have no clue who he is, but it doesn't matter. He just wants to give you a briefcase full of money or something.
Hey, Mr. Beast here.
You then get the opportunity to create your own character, and normally I quite enjoy this process, letting my creativity flow as I sculpt another beautiful mass murderer. But then I made a horrifying discovery. They removed the British voice. So, in a fit of pure rage, I gave this man a receding hairline and the worst accent known to mankind. Texan.
You are one dumb son of a bitch.
Wait,
Hey, what well, again, the Stone Cold's popping up when I'm still writing. Again, by the way, I did say a couple days ago about the Stone Cold video. Next week, sometime next week, the Stone Cold video. Again, this man did a lot of shit. So it's gonna take me some time. And also, how was the creation? That's the one thing about Saints Row was the creation street was that was the one thing that it was better than GTA on, in my opinion, was the creation. That's the one thing they did better. Tempo made a comeback though.
Instagram Live,
But dang.
something bad happens and you end up being buried alive.
I'm gonna spend the next 50 hours buried alive in this coffin.
Which honestly is where the game should have ended. But unfortunately it isn't, and the game rewinds back to when the Saints didn't exist and you were poor trying to pay back your student loans. Currently, you work for a tactical defense firm called Marshall, a company which helps take down notorious criminals, like this man. This leads directly into
I'd move it
the storm
again.
mission, having you storm what I can only assume is the buried map from Black Ops Zombies. You're here to find and arrest an infamous criminal known as the Noale, which after some research I've learned means shadow soul, the animal double of the human soul. Does that mean he's a furry? For dyslexic purposes though, I'm just gonna call him Steve because it's easier to say. You risk your life trying to capture Steve, and eventually you do manage to arrest him, along with that glorious mustache. But sadly you didn't follow Rule 53, and thus you only get paid $5 whole.
I need that money.
Dejected, you return back to your apartment and get a chance to meet the rest of the side characters. We've got Eli, the money man who knows exactly what crypto you should invest in. Then there's Nina. She
Okay.
really likes cars and her favourite film is probably Drive. And of course you have Kevin, a local DJ who loves to bake. Oh, and also he's shirtless. Wow, isn't that just so random and funny? Now all of you aren't exactly in the best financial position right now, and as a result you go out and rob a small store. A mission in which you don't actually play, but rather just sit and watch.
What?
David Cage would be proud. Eventually, you get a promotion at Marshall, probably because you're Employee of the Month, and now you're the head of security, with your first job being to guard this artifact called the Codex. What is the Codex, you ask? I have no fucking clue, and neither does the game. It probably powers your Tesla or something. Realistically, it doesn't matter though, because you're terrible at your job and the Codex gets stolen by a rival gang. Although the guests don't seem too bothered about this. Naturally, this means you get fired, and then you play my favourite part of this game, the Depression Simulator. A whole 5-minute segment where you walk around your flat searching for some form of happiness in your life.
There was
You get bored of being depressed and poor, so you and your friends decide to start your own business. But rather than doing the normal thing and creating something to sell on Dragon's Den, you steal a rundown church and become a street gang. From there on out, the game becomes about you building your gang empire, or as the game puts it, becoming self-made. which just sounds like a fucking alpha grindset meme, and you start taking over the city. Although, when it comes to this game's open world and the city, let's just say it needed a little bit longer in the oven. Los Santos itself is set in Breaking Bad land, aka New Mexico. Now, I love Breaking Bad as much as the next person, but whoever thought basing an open world game in New Mexico was a good idea, you deserve the death penalty.
Yeah.
Firstly, 50% of the map is just desert, with very little to find in it, and secondly, the actual city is apparently a fucking ghost town. Seriously,
Bro,
these streets will
that's
abandon most of the time.
bro. That was one of the things that I didn't like about the game. Like, I know it was curious, like, oh, Wild West, interesting feel, but an open world being based off a deserted island doesn't really make sense. If you pick California or Miami or even downtown Houston or New York, which is a lot of people like to copy from because New York is the best city. You got Charlotte, you got Georgia, you got Vegas, you got stuff that is not only a little bit has desert parts, but at least there's still parts of the city. This looks like it's dead.
Because apparently every NPC went into hiding after they see me backfist their grandmother. Compare this to any of the other Saints Row games, where if you just turned around the corner, you'd be met with either an army of fucking goths. It just makes this game feel so mundane and boring by comparison, because there's absolutely nothing happening. You also can't go inside the vast majority of stores here, as that would require more effort. So instead, you just have to shop at a little tent next to them. Like, imagine just taking a trip to your local Tesco, but instead of going inside
so the customization sucks, basically?
From some weirdo chilling outside. However, in saying that, Volition clearly decided to keep an element of realism here, with you being able to easily drive through trees. Because as we all know, car beats tree every time. Oh wait, sorry, did I say realism? I meant nothing obeys the laws of physics. I pray for any car that gets in your path on the motorway, because every vehicle will simply just bounce straight off of you, regardless if you're driving a tank or a fucking bicycle. Because Volition clearly doesn't understand how weight works. Oh, and while we're on the topic, they also don't understand how bullets work. The guns in this game definitely use Nerf darts, because you can shoot someone in the head from like 2 inches away, and they'll still have about 80% of their health bar left. Even the most upgraded of guns can't take down these fucking morons without you having to empty a bucket of bullets into them. The combat is just unbearably bland because you spend most of your time firing all your ammo into these walking bullet sponges that can apparently tank an RPG to the face with minimal damage. It's that person taking a selfie mid-gunfight. These issues are only made worse due to how much Volition have stripped away from this game. You can't buy grenades or any other kind of explosives anymore, you can't use people as human shields or throw them off buildings anymore, and you can't perform your favourite wrestling moves anymore. Instead, all of this stuff is now abilities that you can unlock for a pointless skill tree, but this only serves to make the core gameplay an excruciating experience. I suppose
that was the sole purpose of Saints Row. What the that was the sole purpose. What's the purpose of Saints Row? If I can't run up on, if the whole purpose of Saints Row was we get to grab people, throw them off anywhere, we get to run up on people, RKO them out of nowhere, do a whole bulldog, do a DDT, do a leg drop on them, you name it. That was the whole purpose of Saints Row. What? Why did y'all take that out? I get it, it's new, but y'all could have kept a lot of the fun old shit that was in the old games.
This only serves to make the core gameplay an excruciating experience. I suppose you can do some decent looking takedowns.
Wow, takedowns.
Even though they take like 2 hours to do, and everyone else you're fighting will just stop and stare at you the entire time, with no clue what to do.
I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
Basically, the gameplay isn't fun. Not to mention the fact it doesn't fucking work half the time. I think it's pretty safe to assume that this game wasn't playtested. Or if it was, I can almost guarantee you that the tester didn't have a set of working eyes.
Hey, Garfield.
Imagine having samples that make you react like this.
Okay, wait.
I'm blind. Invisible takedowns, costumes not working during cutscenes just not working, goodbye textures, why is my boat walking, and sir, are you gonna be alright? I guess not. Some of my own personal experience includes a time during one mission where the game just didn't allow me to access my weapons, so I was forced to kick this poor man to death. Or the time near the end where the game simply took all my weapons away from me, despite the fact I clearly needed them. Oh, and if that wasn't bad enough, I then had to rebuy all my weapons, so I couldn't afford to get this lovely vintage shirt. Much like everything else in this game, the customization here is also pretty lacking, even though the marketing says differently.
You've never seen anything like this before.
It absolutely lacks the same depth seen in the other games, and there's nowhere near as many options to choose from, meaning my Joker cosplay is sadly incomplete. On a real though, how does a game from 2008 have more clothing options than this one? Like, if I'm being honest, I'm struggling to write stuff for this section. The customization is just that fucking forgettable. Although
Welcome to Madden's Community's World. Welcome to the Madden Community's World. How come a game from 2008 have more creation than a game on a PS5? I wonder a gaming company who does that. I wonder who. That's kinda interesting. I never heard of a company do that. Have a game from almost 10 years ago have a better creation suite than a game on the PS5. I wonder what shitty company can do that. I wonder who.
shockingly, out of everything I've listed so far, there's something even worse about this game. The story. Now I could sit here and explain to you why the writing and dialogue is absolutely abysmal, but instead, I'm just gonna show you.
Big, giant, sweaty, dangling horse testy just swinging in the goddamn breeze, knocking back and forth like a pair of motherfucking clappers in a giant horse flesh crotch bell.
Any questions? I thought not. Remember the gangs from Saints Row 2 and the insane leaders like Big Sexy Mero and his tattoos?
He made some poor choices, that's for sure.
Or to a lesser extent, Killbane, the roided out world champion wrestler from Saints Row the 3rd. Yeah, well, the gangs here are shit. From what I'm aware, you have these Watchdog-inspired goths.
The idols have come.
A group of muscly men who love their cars and marshal themselves. However, besides that very surface level stuff, there's nothing much more to these gangs because they're only really here for two reasons. One, for you to shoot, and two, to act as window dressing to artificially inject more life into this dull open world. Absolutely none of these characters stand out to me. Like, we barely get to see these villains do anything of note before they just die in a cutscene. Oh no, generic gangster, I hardly knew the— I mean, the only memorable thing one of these villains do, other than look like they're part of the next Purge film, is destroy Nina's car, which is played 100% seriously, complete with slow-mo and everything.
Do a George Michael.
See, rather than focusing on making any of these characters, you know, good, what the story actually focuses on is this whole self-made mantra it has plastered over everything, with you starting different business ventures throughout the city, with each of these ventures acting as the game's side activities. Now, as we all know, the side activities in the previous games were absolute god tier. Fight Club, Fuzz, and of course insurance fraud honestly should be studied to figure out how Volition managed to make these things so fun. Because evidently they forgot how to do it in this game. Almost every venture here is basically you going to a specific location, collecting something, and then delivering it somewhere else. Is this Death Stranding? On a real, how have you managed to turn one of the best aspects of the previous game into a glorified Amazon delivery simulator? It's honestly quite impressive how much you managed to fuck this up. So now, when the game forces me to play one of these side activities, instead of being happy about it because they're so fun, I put a hole in my wall. With all that being said, at the very least, the ending can't be as bad as everything else. Right, Volition?
Oh, would you look at the time?
So throughout the game, you've been building up the Saints by doing various different things, one of which being to break out the new Steve out of prison. The reason for this being because he has guns or big muscles. Honestly, I don't care, my brain's fried. Anyway, once you help him escape, he slowly starts to become your friend. Up until the end
then he turns on you, right?
Shock, he betrays you and tries to bury you alive. However, his reasoning for doing all of this is simply because he's jealous of the friendship you have with your crew and wants to kill you so that he can become their new best friend. I am not making this up, his motivation is literally just, I'm lonely, please be my friend. I'm losing the will to live. You dig yourself back up and find out Steve is holding your friends captive, forcing them to act like he's their new best friend. You can tell something's wrong here because Kevin's wearing a shirt. You obviously save everyone and fight off Steve using the power of friendship, with the game culminating in a dramatic rooftop showdown.
Really?
Unfortunately, I couldn't pay attention to this ending because I was too busy trying to figure out how a giant British alien was a more compelling villain than fucking Steve. So the game ends.
Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on now. Wait,
British alien.
Hold on. Incel American motivation is he wants friend's sake, bonus for mustache. Chad, British, at least had a good motivation. Yeah, true. Actually funny. Yeah, the alien was actually kind of funny. Not gonna lie. It was actually kind of funny.
Was a more compelling villain than fucking Steve. So the game ends with you shooting him, and then you sit on the roof and have a funny laugh, ha ha ha. Please someone end my suffering. The one positive thing I can say about this reboot is that from start to finish it's definitely been consistent.
Thank you, Chef. I was hoping you'd see that.
Consistently shit. The thing is, I've been very vocal about how much I disliked the direction the Saints Row series went down, but after playing this reboot, I feel like I judged them way too harshly. Those games at the very least had a personality, and even at their worst, they were still somewhat entertaining. Whereas this fucking reboot is a bland, lifeless mess, just trying to cash in on an already dead franchise. The game clearly wasn't finished upon release, and Volition can try their hardest to patch this mess, but honestly, some things aren't worth saving. Absolutely nobody likes this game. It was hated before the fans got their hands on it, and it's somehow now hated even more. The only way Volition can possibly fix this now is by giving Kevin a shirt.
Okay, but that being said, that is it for the video, and shit, Saints Row. You know what? I changed my mind. After hearing this, I don't feel like getting the game. If the story's ass, there's no real motivation, the creation looks like it sucks. What am I getting the game for? What am I getting the game for? They could have just. I understand God of Hell was a bad game, but after watching this review, it gets worse. This is worse than that, bro. I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like Saints Row 3 still. Saints Row 3 is still my favorite. And 4 is like, even though it was that superpowers and shit, it was kind of fun. It was fun. Definitely, it was fun. It was fun. But that was one thing Saints Row games had. Like, they had fun. They had a fun arcadey type. That's why I was different from GTA, because it was, it was fun. Fun, get attached to the characters. And the main thing for me in the story is, if I can't get attached to the characters, why am I playing the game? For example, I know there's going to be a hard one, easy one, but Peter Parker, Spider-Man. You know how attached everyone is to that Peter Parker? People consider that Peter Parker to be the best Spider-Man. That's how attached everyone is. You can't make a storytelling video game and not have us attached to no characters at all. That's just bland. They better not come up. If they come up with another one, it better be better than this. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm Blackboard TJ. Like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and if you haven't, hit that like button. And I am out. Happy Friday. Peace.